what is going to be going into your van and how are you going to be using your van? Do you need your van to haul a ton of gear? Do you need your van to haul a ton of people? Is it a full-time live-in with, say, maybe you and your significant other? These are the kind of questions that you really need to start dialing in, because this is what the whole build is going to be shaped around.
So this portion is probably going to be maybe the most important part of everything, because understanding what you're using your van for in the first place is going to set you up for success, whether you're building it yourself or having somebody else build it for you. Because if you build your entire van out and then realize that you wanted an extra seat for a child, obviously you're going to be in a tough scenario after that.
On our resource page, we'll include templates that you can actually draw out, and they are to scale. And this is very, very helpful in kind of conceptualizing exactly how this van build is going to be laid out.
We'll start breaking those pieces apart. So you're going to have, probably your bed in the back. That's going to take up a large majority of part of your van. So where do you then go from, the must-have of having a bed? Do you want a kitchen galley? Think about where that's gonna go, because then you can start knocking off pieces of the build, because you're only gonna be able to put so many things, so many different places. And so thinking about what you need and where you're gonna put it is really important. If you really need that interior shower, think about what you have to give up and where you're gonna put that shower, because that might dictate everything else inside of the van as well.
For those who are a little more tech savvy, you can use programs such as Fusion, SketchUp, VanSpace 3D, and you can actually build your van within a computer and get a general idea of what the layout's is gonna look like. We personally use Fusion 360 to make our renderings, or Rhino, and that really helps the client understand what is being placed in this van. This can be a very complex process, as you need to include how big your electrical systems are, how big those wheel well boxes are gonna be, if you have an interior water tank. So being able to incorporate all these sizes in, so that way you know how much free space you have left over. Plenty of research and plenty of time should be going into the development and the understanding of how you're gonna be building the van. It's best not to shoot from the hip and just go with the flow, but understand how big everything is, like exactly what stuff you need to fit in there, and get a trace of everything, so that way you have a solid idea of how things are going to be when you're finished building this van. So for the three vans, you have a ProMaster 136 and a 159, a Transit 148 or a 148 extended, and a Sprinter 144 or a 170. What those numbers mean are your wheelbases, which is basically telling you how long the van is, how much space you're going to have to build within that van. And typically, for most clients, the smaller version of the two is enough space, especially if you're going to be doing the weekend warrior. You can do full-time living in these smaller vans, but if you do want, say, a shower or a full-time live-in or something that feels more like a home, a 170, 159, or a 148 extended may be the route to go, as you just have a little bit more room. The van is longer, it's a little more difficult to park and drive. 170 won't fit in a normal parking space. Van life is all about being adaptable. Human beings are, incredible at adapting to their surrounding areas, and the van life is all about rolling with punches. If you have children and you want seats, a lot of the times it's more conducive to go with a longer wheelbase van. Seats do take up a good chunk of room, can be done in a smaller wheelbase van, but you do lose a lot of storage area when you do that. And we've always found that 36 inches of bed clearance is just an ideal height. For a lot of these high roof vans, you don't want your bed super low, because then I feel like you're losing out on a lot of headspace. So when you place your bed at about 36 inches with, say, 6 to 8 inch mattress, this is like a happy median, so you can pack a lot of gear down below your bed, and then that way you have plenty of headroom above, so you can sit up in bed as well. So again, just trying to find the balance and the symmetry of how you build these vans is super crucial.